She's sitting upright, but not pretty. Looking at the Costa Concordia now, it's unsurprising that when disaster struck, 32 people lost their lives. It is perhaps lucky that more did not. Raising the ship offered first sight of the damage on her starboard side. There are huge indentations where she pressed down onto rocks. Walkways and cabins were crushed when she ran aground. Being a passenger can't have been easy on that night in January 2012. It was hard enough watching from shore.
I cannot describe how I feel today, because I was one of the first people to arrive after the capsizing that night. It's a scary thing. That night, the impossible happened. Today, the possible has been done.
This is how the Costa Concordia has looked since then. On her side, an eerie fixture off the Tuscan coast. 20 months since she went down, lifting her up has been a triumph. Time-lapse footage shows the so-called power-buckling operation, the most complex and expensive of its kind in history. Steel cables were used to ease the vessel off the rocks and sit her on a steel underwater platform. The 19-hour job finished in the middle of the night. As engineers went back ashore, delighted locals celebrated returning heroes. It was emotional.
We called on the radio between all the vessels, and we said that 0400 hours, the Costa Concordia is upright and safely resting on the grout mattress and platforms. And you could hear you could hear the guys were really chuffed all over. You know, they were blowing their horns, jumping up and down. It was good.
4,000 passengers were on board the Costa Concordia when she crashed on rocks off the island of Giglio. The ship's captain, Francesco Schettino, is on trial for manslaughter and abandoning ship before its passengers. Now that she's vertical, tanks will be put on the starboard side to balance the tanks already in place. Both sides will then be filled with water to give stability. Eventually they'll be filled with air so that the tanks act as buoyancy aids, pushing the ship upwards so that it floats. The Costa Concordia will then be towed away to an Italian port to be broken up, a journey the team expects to take place next spring. Stabilising the wreck means that the search can begin in earnest for 2 people who were on board when the vessel ran aground but have never been found. That search has been hampered by the fact the Costa Concordia has been on her side. Salvage workers have had to walk on walls, the corridors being wells of water. As well as searching for the bodies of the missing pair, recovery teams will scour the boat cabin by cabin in an effort to reunite passengers with their belongings, starting with the onboard safes. There is now time for the little jobs in maritime salvage, after successfully completing the biggest ever.